Shalom, Ahab, wa Baraka. In other words, peace, love, and blessings. First and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashim Shai, Ba'ashim Kadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the teachers, and the prophets, bringing out the 100% truth in Great Millstone. It was brought to my attention. I brought out a class a couple days ago saying we can't say the name. When I was listening to Nathaniel speak, he said that a language is not going to save you. So he's talking about the Hebrew. So I want to read something to you guys, because you know what? No one thing is going to save you except for Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. But the things that you do are what's going to get you saved. So let's read this real quick, and then I'm going to get a precept, and then I'm just going to read this down to the point, and then I'm going to get a precept real quick. All right, this is called the prologue of the wisdom of Jesus, the son of Sirach. Okay? This is like, so in the book of Sirach, before chapter 1, this is what's written. So, whereas many and great things have been delivered unto us by the law and the prophets, and by others that have followed their steps, for the which things Israel ought to be commanded for learning and wisdom. And therefore, not only the readers must need become skillful themselves, but also they that desire to learn be able to profit them which are without, both by speaking and writing. Speaking and writing. That sounds like a lot of studying going on in me. You gotta study too much. That language ain't gonna save you. Okay, well, let's see. Studying and writing. You think that this is talking about speaking English? You think this is talking about writing Greek and Latin? Studying and writing. My grandfather Jesus, when he had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets and the other books of our fathers, and had gotten therein good judgment. So he got good judgment for studying. For good judgment was drawn on also himself to write something pertaining to learning and wisdom, to the intent that those which are desirous to learn, get out. I got dogs. Out. Hold on. Sorry about that. Let me pick up where I left off. To the intent that those which are desirous to learn and are addicted to these things might profit much more in living according to the law. In other words, if you're drawn to the law, that means you've been called on. You're being dealt with. That's why it's saying that. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to ponder us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words. Listen to this very carefully, guys. We may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. So there's some words in the Hebrew that they didn't understand, but what did they do? They labored. They did the works to figure out what these words meant. Now Nathaniel will tell you straight up, you out there looking up too many words, you don't need to go into the Hebrew to get it. All of this stuff. In fact, I probably quote him out of context because he says so many stupid things, it's hard to keep up. But he definitely said that studying the Hebrew isn't going to save you. But these guys are laboring in the Hebrew to figure out what the words mean. So who should we believe? The guy that's telling you not to study, or the guys that are laboring in the truth, studying so we can unfold these parables, so we can have that 100% truth. Think about that. So we come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. Nathaniel, they have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself has not the same force in it, translated into this stammering tongue. Now, you tried to tell the people, oh, the stammering tongue is Hebrew. You know how I know that? Because I know some people from IUIC. The stammering tongue is English, and all these other language built to deceive us and pull us away from our heritage. So the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. Not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own tongue. In other words, when you put it in English, oh, this book contradicts itself. Look at this, look, because they translated it wrong. Not everything, they labored hard to figure out what the words meant in the first place. So when you take it back to the Hebrew, though, that's what we're able to do this day. That's why we know we got the 100% truth. We can go back and look these words up, and we can figure out exactly what they're saying. So, they have not the same force in them, and not only these things, but the law itself, the prophets, the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own tongue. For in the 38th year coming into Egypt, when Euergetes was king, and continuing there sometime, I found a book of no small learning. Therefore, I thought it most necessary for me to bestow some diligence and travail to interpret it. So it was painful. It was painful for him because it was really hard to figure out what this book was saying. You got to study. I'm going to finish this and I'll get that. Using great watchfulness and skill in that space to bring the book to an end, and set it forth for them also, which in a strange country are willing to learn. A strange country who are willing to learn. Being prepared before in manners to live after the law, all wisdom cometh from Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, and is with him forever. So let's go back a little bit. So he literally said that I thought it most necessary for me to bestow some diligence and travail to interpret it, because it tells you back here the right here. Wherefore, let me entreat you and to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. We'll have to study the Hebrew. We have to study the Hebrew language to get the full understanding. So this is the whole reason why a 501c3 like Nate would say, you don't have to, what does he say? Studying the Hebrew is not going to get you in the kingdom. Well, yes, it is. It's part of getting in the kingdom. Because if you're not going to study Hebrew, well, let me get it. But not just Hebrew, but the Hebrew is part of a greater picture. It's not just one thing's going to get you in the kingdom, but studying the Hebrew to learn your culture and heritage, so you know how to pray, so you know how to greet your brethren, so you know how to curse this this horrible land that we're trapped in. You got to know the Hebrew for that, because the same words uttered in a different language have not the same strength. They have not, and translated into another tongue, have not the same force in them. So we have to study the Hebrew language. Nathaniel lied to you again. In fact, let me get this real quick. Let me just get it real quick. It's 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. You can't get past that name. Yes, you're supposed to study the Hebrew. No matter what anybody tells you, if they told you not to, they lied to you. Let's see if I can find another one. That one's a tough one for you. That one's a good one. Here we go. I'm trying to find an easy one for you guys to understand. Wherefore we labor that, whether present or absent, we may be acceptable of him. And the labor is study to show thyself approved, being in the truth. You can't just be in the truth and not do anything. That just sounds stupid. And I got one more. Let's see. I wanted to bring out one more. 1 Timothy 4:6. If thou put the brethren in remembrance of these things, if you teach, thou shalt be a good minister. Teaching the truth makes you a good minister of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, nourished up in the words of faith and of good doctrine. So how you're nourished, what did I tell you in the last class? Eat the book. So to be nourished up in the words of faith and of good doctrine, it means to be taught, weaned from the breast, weaned from the milk, drawn from the breast. In other words, learning the basic wisdom and the basic knowledge. That's the faith, and that's the words of faith and of good doctrine, whereunto thou hast attained. So the people that study, and yes, study the Hebrew language also, they've attained what the Most High would consider good doctrines and nourished up in the words of faith. Now, I'm not going to go too far. I was just going to make this a short one. So if you want to just go into the prologue, the wisdom of, it's the wisdom of Jesus, the son of Sirach. So go to that, read that. That's what I was reading from today. So just go ahead and read that. It'll tell you directly that you have to study Hebrew, because the words uttered in a different language other than Hebrew have not the same power. And with that being said, if you got eyes to see and ears to hear, I hope you're able to get something out of this short message. Shalom.